Some positive news relating to Palace. Finally, we're going to be talking about some incomings today. There's a bit of news relating to Palace's incomings with striker on the line. As you can see from the title, Balogun, would he be the right fit? And also, how much would you potentially cost for Palace to go and get him? And there's been a few rumours, both from Tottenham loanees and also Everton players that could potentially be joining Palace. And as always, we'll be answering your questions and more. Let's get started with the latest Palace news. What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. I'm joined by Patrick here to discuss all the latest with Palace. As always, if you do enjoy the content, we want you to get involved. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and also leave down your comments in the comment section down below. And if you have any questions that you want answered throughout the stream, send them through the live comment section. We'll be answering them towards the end. Patrick, how you doing, man?
I'm very busy, unlike you, so I'm all right now.
Very busy.
Very busy. Very, very busy. I'm busy now.
Before we actually get started, Roy Hodgson, we spoke about yesterday, me and AJ. You personally messaged me, said that you was over the moon. Are you a bit relaxed now?
Yeah, don't take the proverbial, all right? I'm not over the moon. I don't like the idea. I think Parrish, again, is showing how he has very little foresight. I think it's a very short-sighted move. I don't like it. I don't see how we're going to sign players when you're not imagining to be there for a year. I just don't think there's anything good about the move. So, but we move. I'm not. We move. I don't know. It's not.
Well, let's talk about the positives. And that is, before we actually do get started, that is a bit of Palace news. Zaha, Stormzy, and Danny Young of Crystal Palace by AFC Croydon Athletic Football Club. Exactly. I was so happy to see that. Some people are saying, well, if you're buying a football club, if you're running a football club, you have to stay close to it because there's a lot of things going behind it. But
I know.
I don't think that's going to be the case. They're non-league side, and there's going to be others running. I don't think Stormzy and Zaha is going to be there day in, day out to run Croydon Athletic.
Day-to-day operations, no? You don't think so?
Yeah, they're still operational Croydon Athletic. Someone has to put the sandwiches out. I mean, what?
Good point. That's Zaha's job. Yeah. And refreshments, and the pitch is going to be Stormzy. You got Martin.
Yeah, Stormzy's going to be the groundsman, and Zaha's going to be the kit man, and Danny Young is actually going to be the CEO. A bit of raw twist. Jokes aside, Patrick, it is good though. It is positive to see because Zaha's been putting money in, and Stormzy as well. Who's been helping the local community, but getting involved with football. It's an interesting combination. Danny Young, which many people don't know about. Apart from outside of Palace, even some people at Palace don't know him as much. He used to be the kit man at Palace for years. He just left this season with, I was about to say with Wilf. Hopefully that's not the case, but he has left this season because he has I think he had like family that was away from London. He wants to get closer to them. But that's something that you want to see. And it's good. It's good that as a Crystal Palace homegrown player, Zaha, who started at Palace, giving back to the local community.
And it just shows the kind of person that Zaha is. He has that football academy that he's doing for the kids locally. He gets it. I mean, he's, people could say whatever they want about him as a player, but as a person, he just gets it. He gets his local community. He gets what it's like to be from South London. He's a brilliant person, man. Seriously, big up to him and Stormzy and Danny Young, because that's a brilliant thing that they're doing. Hopefully the club will do really well under them.
Yeah, hopefully it works out in our favor, and hopefully Zaha stays. Well, some people don't want him to stay, but hopefully he does stay because of Croydon Athletic. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you have to look at all the little glimpses. But look, let's get started with the latest Palace news. And as we mentioned yesterday, there was reports suggesting that now that the manager side of things is done, we're going to focus on a specific position, and that was striker. And we're starting off today with striker news as well, and this is a highly rated striker over in America, and also that done well in the French league last season as well. And that is on Balogun, who is currently at Arsenal. He was out on loan last season. According to reports from the Football Insider, Balogun is a target, and Crystal Palace have set sights on Balogun ahead of the new season. And there has been reports suggesting that Balogun wants to leave on a permanent deal. He does not want to loan move. That's what reports were suggesting last week. And now Crystal Palace are interested. So, Patrick, as you're over in stateside, you're seeing a bit of Balogun scoring goals here and there. There's a lot of hype around him. What do you make of this news?
As a player, I think he's brilliant. So, as you may not know, he's born in Brooklyn. That's my ends. My American ends is Brooklyn, so that's American
nice. Ends.
Yeah, he grew up in
That's a
the
black.
the academy at Arsenal. When he went back to he moved to London. Sorry, came out of the same academy. Played with Yunus Musa, who's on the US national team also. Played with played with Bukayo Saka. So he's got some really good pedigree. I followed his career when he went to Reims because I'm a big Real Steel fan. So I love the fact he played in France. And he got his first cap for the United States for the most recent Nations League. Played well in the first game, didn't score, scored in the second game. So I started watching really closely. He's got brilliant movement. He can press. He's a decent. He's actually smaller than I thought. I thought he was taller. He's not as tall as I thought. He's like 5'11", I think, 6 feet maybe. But he's very quick, and I love him as a player. And he's exactly what we need. And I agree with Gaika. But the problem is that there is no chance he's going to come to Palace because also going to ask at least 30 million for him, and we're never going to pay that money for a striker. I think, in theory, I know Tim might be in the chat. I love him as a player. I think it'd be a perfect striker signing for us. But there's no way we're going to pay what Arsenal going to ask for. There's absolutely no chance, none.
But why wouldn't we? That's my biggest question. Last season, we didn't
also
spend as much.
Also going to ask a lot of money. That's why we don't have that kind of money.
Okay. But if we have two positions to strengthen, which I think, anyways, we sorted out midfield in terms of starting 11. We got striker. Yesterday's reports, after we talked about Roy, we quickly mentioned it. Reports are suggesting from Alan Nixon that we are going to be focusing on striker. We've been in the Premier League.
Can I ask you a question? Wait. You always quote Alan Nixon. When's he ever been right on anything? You always quote him.
He has been right. He has been right.
No, he hasn't. Name one Palace thing he's been right on. I'm being honest with you. One.
I'll look for it, but I mean, he was there.
You look for it. That means you don't know any. Okay, great. So I made my point. But anyway, go ahead. He's one of the worst sources on Twitter. I know you follow him on Twitter.
He's not one of the worst sources. There's worse sources.
He doesn't get anything right.
He has the sources. Nah, he definitely does. Ever. It definitely does.
All right.
But he didn't say anything crazy. Anyways, he said that we're going to be focusing on the striker. He didn't put like the water. Like, he just said we're going to be focused on the striker, which makes sense. I mean, even if you don't know Palace, or even if Anna Nixon's there, I mean, what other position are we going to be focused on? Not
right back.
Right winger.
Right
yeah,
back.
But a striker, but based on reports from ages ago, striker was always going to be.
Oh, it's a priority for sure. It's a priority for sure.
Yeah, they're focusing on striker clearly more than right back because we signed 2 right backs. So that's not really a surprise. But anyways, Alan Nixon said that yesterday, and today we're hearing this report. Look, if our striker should be our priority, which I think it should be, if it's right back, if they don't see right back as a priority, then the next should be striker. Then why don't you spend that money on a quality striker? Strikers come in a premium, and you have to pay that premium. That's one of the positions where you can take the gamble, which we have done with Edouard and Mateta, and he hasn't quite worked out. If you go with a cheap option, I'm not saying Balogun would work out if you spent £35 million because a player's price tag doesn't mean that he's guaranteed success. But he's a player that's quality, right? That you're hyping up, that we've seen as well over in France, and has been highly rated for a few years now. So why shouldn't we spend £35 million? If we had any bit of money, we should spend it on a striker, or on a quality striker. No, Patrick?
So in 2016, which is 7 years ago now, we spent 27 million on Christian Benteke, right?
Yeah.
That was 7 years ago. Since then, we bought Edouard, obviously, and Mateta. But again, my thing is I'm not saying we shouldn't spend it, but I just don't see where all of a sudden Steve Parish is going to decide, because it's going to be Steve Parish deciding, right, to spend $30 million of not his money, by the way, somebody else's money on the striker. I just don't see it. And I'm saying that because not that I don't want him to do it, but I just think that I know for a fact Arsenal are going to ask the premium amount for him or Nketiah. They're probably going to get rid of both of them, by the way. They're just going to bring in Havertz from Chelsea. I just don't see them asking for less than 30 million. We historically don't spend that kind of money on a striker besides Benteke. You know what I mean? I just don't. I know what you're saying. I just don't see us doing it. I know what you're saying. We need a striker. It's a priority position. We should spend the money. You're talking total sense. But I'm talking about our board. It's like the manager search. It makes sense to go for a new manager, right? But we end up with Hodgson. So I just don't see it. I'm trying to be realistic. I'm not trying to be funny or be negative. I'm just trying to be realistic. I just don't see us spending that kind of money.
Yeah, I don't as well, but I don't understand why wouldn't we spend that kind of money when we know our situation. Do you get it? I personally don't understand it. And your screen, I don't know what's in your screen. It's some type of demon on your camera, where your camera just flickering. Can you see it on your end?
I
Your
can.
camera's flickering a lot. Oh, you
If
can.
I touch it, all right, I'm gonna do something. Hold on.
All right. Okay. See, that worked. Where were you done? It worked. You switch cameras. But
I
yeah,
changed
look,
cameras.
let us know what you guys think as well in the live comment section. Should we pay a premium for a striker? Or would you rather go for the cheaper approach? Because look, we've seen with the we've seen with the likes of even our players, such as Elise, Eze, Gehi, we've added them highly because we know their quality. And striker is even more difficult. So you just have to pay for strikers. And I don't, if it ain't Gyökeres, and if it ain't Balogun, maybe Nketiah. Patrick, would you go for Nketiah on a cheap option? Let's say £25 million for Nketiah rather than spending £10 million extra for Balogun?
I'd rather have Balogun. I've talked about Nketiah before. I don't really rate him. I know he's a decent striker. I don't rate him. He's done well on the 21, did okay for Arsenal. We needed him to score goals this season when Jesus was injured. He didn't do anything. I don't rate Nketiah. But what's what I will say, if I have a Danjuma comment in a minute. If we do go for Balogun, we'd have to sell either Eze or Lisa or Gehi. And I wouldn't want to do that. But I don't see any chance we spend that money if we sell one of our top-rated players. So from that standpoint, if we sell Gehi for 50 million or Lisa for 50 or Eze, then I can see it coming in. But that's, to me, that's taking 2 steps back and then 1 step forward. So to me, just don't really gain. Because to have Balogun without Eze or Lisa kind of, or to have him without a better defense than Gay, you know what I'm saying? So, but I don't see us spending money without selling, and that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. So in terms of strike options, Steve 21 says Dembele on a free. Out of all the names mentioned,
yeah, I thought he went somewhere. Maybe not.
I don't know. Probably he did. Because everyone's moving nowadays. But in terms of the striker options and some of the names that's been mentioned out there, who do you realistically see Palace getting then? Because strikers are never cheap.
I don't see us getting any strikers. The ones I like are Balogun and Gyökeres. I don't see us spending the money. See, again, I'm not trying to be funny. I just the way we're moving as a club. Why are we spending money on 30 million? We're not going to do it. I know it's a priority, but why all of a sudden you think we didn't spend money? We're not going to spend. I don't understand. This is my logic now, D. Okay, as a player, we had discussion before. Forget Jefferson Lerma, who signed on a free without a manager. Good for him. All right, somebody sold Jefferson Lerma on a project. We've now figured out that project is Hodgson for a year. Okay, call it what I want to stay up. And then after that, who? Is it Paddy McCarthy? Is it Steven Gerrard? Is it Graham Potter? We don't know what that is. So why would they? One, can you even attract Balogun to come to Palace based on the fact that we have Hodgson for a year and then whoever after who might even rate Balogun? Can you get Gyökeres to come here or Nketiah based on the fact that you have Hodgson for a year and then whoever next year? I don't see to me, by saying Hodgson for a year, you are handicapping yourself for getting any real high quality options. I'm not saying you can get a Dembele on a free because that's an option because he might not care. I'll take the money.
High quality nowadays. That hype is dying down. Dembele, there's a reason why it's going to the free. It's not that Lerma situation.
Exactly. So I'm just saying to myself, I just can't see this. Tim, again, thanks for tuning in again, Tim. Is I just don't see us getting a high quality young players with our management situation. Just to me, it just seems like a really weird decision to say we're going to bring back Hodgson for a year, and after that, we'll let you know.
I disagree with that because I think a player would join Palace, like a player like Balogun would join Palace regardless of Roy Hodgson factor. Even if you didn't rate Roy Hodgson, maybe Balogun likes the thought of playing for Roy Hodgson. Because I think we got Eze, Elise, the core. Like we got some quality players there that he can play around, and that sounds exciting for him.
And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to 2 years ago. We were able to attract Olise, Gehi, Anderson, etc., Edward because of Vieira. That was the pool we had, and in fact, we were doing a 2 or 3 year project. I don't think they come unless that was a project they were bought into. Now it went pear-shaped. I get that part. So you're telling me you're gonna come to sign for Hodgson for a year and what? No, man, that's not how football works. There, I don't agree with you on that. I can't see them coming here to a year. Balogun's 21 years old. Logically, it doesn't make sense to me. But he'd come here for 1 year. It's not. Maybe I don't understand football anymore. But to me, that makes no sense. But anyway.
Yeah, Tim says Tim is normally
I know Tim like me. Tim loves Balogun.
Yeah. But he says, take the debt if we need to, agree to a selling clause if we need to.
I agree.
He's got so much promise, which shows, the type of depths that we need to go into to attract players like this. And maybe we do, but then again, Palace is so risk averse. Like we are the most
Thank
risk
you.
averse club
Right,
there is.
exactly.
And hopefully it does work out in the end. But like, I just don't see us taking debt just to sign Balogun. I'll be hugely shocked if that
So you
does
agree
happen.
then? It's not going to happen then. You agree with me? After arguing
So
before.
I don't know exactly how much money is available. I don't think anyone does
okay.
apart from people.
No
at
one
the club.
does, right?
But
Right.
but what I'm saying is, last season we didn't spend that much, so you'd
Right.
expect that money to carry over into this year's budget. Because last season
You'd
I was
hope
saying,
so.
fine, we need to spend this summer. We're waiting for this
Yep.
summer. So
Yep.
you know, if we do have a bit of budget, which I expect us to have, you know, at least £35 million. I mean, if we don't,
Right.
then that's a bit scary because, geez, like we're running on pennies. Then, you know, why don't you spend that money on a quality striker and pay the premium? Do you get it?
I
If you
agree.
don't need to train for many other positions. And by the way, like, for example, Schurz that will put £21 million bid in. If that was to ever happen, that would be probably because Anderson or Gahey's leaving. So we'll still get money coming in. So we don't need extra money for that because that money will be covered. And on top of that, we'll probably make a bit of money that will be left over. So for this, whatever money that we have right now, spend it on Balogun. Go for it. But then again, it comes with premium. But let us know what you guys think in the live comment section about Balogun. Would you want him? And if not, what type of strikers would you want at Palace? And if you're enjoying the stream so far, make sure to smash the like button, people. Helps us out massively. And subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. Corinne says, the free market is buzzing with plays this window. Mitch says, what annoys me, if we want to gamble on a cheap option, fine. Sometimes that makes financial sense, but at least get that cheap option in the door so I can start dreaming. Tim says, plus, I think Arsenal has to sell for FFP. Balogun gives them a massive profit that they can apply to the margins for FFP. But the only downside for that is there's going to be other teams interested in Balogun.
Oh, 100%.
Crystal Palace. So Arsenal will most likely get that money one way or another. So we have to show intent and we have to battle against other teams, which is maybe you see the downside to it, because especially if we don't have a massive budget, you would expect other teams to beat us. Punching Bag says no Dembele. Gaka says hate to see it, but I can see Gay possibly going to Arsenal. We get Balogun plus money. I don't see that happening because they
don't do people. Team don't do that money plus swap deals. They make sense to fans, but I can't remember the last time I saw a player go plus money. It just doesn't really happen anymore, does it?
Yeah, as he says, Croydon AFC are going to be making better signings. Then
100%, 100%. I agree. 100%.
Make it up as we go, FC.
That's what great name for us. I love that. I love that one.
Yeah, I change it as Crystal Interest FC because we've been interested in a lot of players. So I think that's where we stand right now, because we wasn't going to talk about it, but the player Mateus Franca, I think Newcastle are stepping up the interest for him, for example, and that was one player that was, you know, the one
that was being tracked by Dougie for all this time.
Yeah, that he flew over. He flew over there as well.
Crystal Interest FC strikes again.
Crystal Interest FC, that's how I see Palace right now. Can we tempt Balogun with a pocket of Quavers? I'm pretty sure you can all afford that already. Maybe a bit of jerk chicken in the chicken center next to the stadium. I guess that's or Sainsbury's. Give a bit of Sainsbury's vouchers. What else is there for Palace that we can attract them with? We got fish and chips down the road. What else have we got, Patrick? You haven't been here for ages.
Is there still a Wimpy? Wimpy still there?
I don't think so. Maybe, but Wimpy's a bit old school news now. Exactly.
You asked me a question. I tried to answer it. What can I tell you? It's been a while.
Indecisive FC.
Tasty jerk. How about that? Tasty jerk.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, we got jerk chicken. We got jerk chicken.
You know why? Because T sent a text in a group chat about you spelled Balogun's first name wrong, and I've been focused on that the whole time.
Have I?
It's Falo, not Fola.
Fa.
So I looked at that and I forgot you said something about tasty jerk.
Okay, all right then. Well, I'll change that. Can you go through some of the comments? Of monitoring FC.
I'd actually have to look at them, so I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Look at it. They're all going all out.
Indecisive FC. Where's that one? I don't even know where that is. Where are you on the top?
I spelled it right, man. I spelled it right.
No, it's Falo, not
Folo. Fola.
No, it's Falo.
It says Fol.
No, right, but it's Falo. You spelled it wrong.
L-O. No, it says F-O-L. So someone. Oh wait, hold up. L-A. No, I spelled it right. Chat, let us know. Did I spell it right? I spelled it right. Check it, Patrick. Yeah, that's what it's spelled here.
I'm just saying what T said. That T said it was spelled wrong somewhere. I don't know what T. You look in the group. Look in the chat.
Well, yeah, I spelled it right. I mean,
I'm just telling you what T said. I wasn't paying attention. I'm just telling what T said. Luke Cooper says, I really want Balogun. I don't blame you. He's a good player.
Oh, the graphic. Oh, it might be the graphic. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It might-
Mukhtar says, I want Edward to play more often. Mukhtar, I got to ask you a question. Play more often to do what? What do you need to see more? No, I'm big serious because listen, I was a big advocate of give Edward a certain amount of games, but Leeds game aside, he just hasn't shown enough to want to give him. Why give him more games? It's like saying you want to see him fail more because I don't see giving him more games to make him any better. Maybe preseason gets him going again, but to me, something happened. Something either wrong with him or just not good enough because he hasn't shown enough for me.
With the striking situation. So Patrick, if we do get another striking, do you think it's time to let one of them go at least? I think Mateta is one that's looking more than
clearly Mateta's going to go. Clearly Mateta's going to be gone. So.
Are you happy?
I would have a problem.
Next season?
See, people don't respect. People want to hype up, well, not hype up, but want to give Edward credit where they want to kill Mateta. Mateta's got much bigger goals his whole career than Edward has. But the truth is, I have no problem Mateta going because he takes way too much stick from our fan base. Bigger goals than that? Are you joking?
Oh, bigger goals. I thought you said he scored more goals. I thought you
more important goals that you remember. I remember like maybe 2 or 3 of Edward goals. I can remember like 7 or 8 of Edward, especially the Leicester goal being the most recent. You know what I mean? So stuff like that.
Yeah,
Brighton goals, Watford goals, Millwall goals. I mean, you can go on. Wolves goals away. I mean, seriously. But again, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I don't care which one of them goes. If we bring in a real striker, one of them has to go anyway, and the other one better start scoring goals off the bench when it gets to play. You know what I mean? So there's that.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Mateta, and I said this before. I can't wait for him to go. But at the same time, he has scored some massive goals for us. Like, it's weird. Like, he somehow has, but honestly, if we scored tomorrow, I'll be over the moon. Like, because I just think it's better to move on sooner rather than later. I remember what I said, Patrick, when we first signed him about Mateta. When we first signed him on a permanent deal, what was here live transfer deadline day?
No,
what did I say?
You can repeat it, but I'm gonna then repeat what you said about Edward. So say what you said about Mateta. Go ahead, say it.
Well, I said that we might have jumped the ship a bit too early about Mateta.
I remember
because I talked about the hype.
100%.
There was a lot of hype. He scored some important goals, but 100%. I didn't know if he was still built up for the Premier League. So you did. So what about
Edward? You said, "I'm ready for the quote." Right?
Yeah. Go on. Where's the quote?
You ready? It's the Thierry Henry quote.
Yeah, what's the quote?
You don't remember the quote? Classes.
Oh, class is permanent.
Right?
Yeah, wait. Class is permanent, form is temporary.
Form is temporary. That's what you said about Edward. So is he classy or does he just have form? Which one is it? Because that's what you keep bragging about Edward, how he's classy. He's not classy. He has temporary form like most
don't you think Edward
have.
Can play role coming off the bench next season? Not as a starter, but
coming off the bench. I don't think he wants to. And I'll be honest with you, besides the Tottenham game, he doesn't play well off the bench. The Tottenham game, the first place, he scored 2 goals in 5 minutes. He was brilliant. I was like, super striker. But honestly, he's not great off the bench. He hasn't been. He's much better when he starts. We've all said that. When he starts, he plays much better than when off the bench.
You're right.
So
you're right.
There's that.
I mean,
let's not do this. I don't want to do a Mateta Edward. We do this all the time.
Exactly. It's a summer. It's a summer. Exactly. Hopefully, come next season, we don't. It was like the most annoying debate of all time.
It really was. It was a debate about 2 players who just weren't good enough. So what was the point? It was pointless.
Yeah, it's like, do you want someone to shit in your head or in your mouth?
No. We're not doing this. Move on. We're not going to have an analogy.
That's what the debate feels like. Like, you can't win either way. It's like you're just getting it on you. But anyways, let's move on to the next bit of Palace news. Balogun, we'll see what happens with that. But the sites are there. I mean, we can both see the vision, but can the clubs bring the money to the table? We'll have to see. I'm saying do it. I'm saying whatever money you have, spend it.
If we can do this, where is it? I missed it. Where did it go? No, where did it go? Someone had a great. Oh, here it is. If we do this, then I'm all for bringing in Balogun in for 30 million.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that would give us a left winger, a right back, and a striker. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But not a penny less than 150 million.
There's a bigger chance of Pep coming in and becoming Roy's assistant next season than that.
You're 100% right about that.
£150 million. But let's move on to the second bit of news. There wasn't that much I went on today, but if you're enjoying the stream, make sure to smash the like button, people. Helps us out massively, and subscribe if you're new here. Really appreciate your support. So let's move on to winger chat. So both Daily Mail and BBC/Alex Howe, who used to work at the club, have reported
Alex
similar
is a good
things.
source, by the way. Alex
Yeah,
is an excellent source.
yeah. So there's interest in Dan Juma from Germany, Italy, and clubs in the Premier League. And the player is going to decide his future in the next couple of weeks. He also added that understand that Crystal Palace were interested in January. There aren't any conversations at the moment, but we will be monitoring the situation. And on top of that, the Daily Mail has also reported that we have interest in Dan Juma, as well as Damari Gray from Everton. Patrick, let's start off with Dan Juma. I think he's a quality player. Of course, at Tottenham, the loanee didn't work out well. Is this a scenario of we're keeping tabs on him? If Wilf was to leave, then we'll push for him. If Wilf wasn't to leave, then if things stay as it is.
I don't know about that, but I have a very good friend who lives over here. He knows Parrish and a few other players. I can't name him because he'll get mad at me. And we're in a group chat, and he texted me to following today. Was told to be quiet, but then Juma strong possibility. And he told me we were going to sign Jefferson Lerma, so he has very good sources. So as far as I'm concerned, the Juma link is very, very strong. It may not happen because he's not over 100% right now, whenever it is, but I believe that that's a very strong possibility, Dan Juma. I don't think it's a possibility just because of Wilf leave. I think it's a good possibility to have him because he's very flexible. He can play, left side, right side, up top. He's a perfect signing for us because he can very, he's like Edward, but I don't even know. He's like Edward, I guess, I don't know how to say it.
Sure?
He's like
Wait,
Edward.
what?
No, from the standpoint, he can play left side, right side, striker, that kind of. I'm talking about versatility. I'm not talking about we'll come here and be a,
you weren't really
flash in the
selling it.
pan,
I'll be
show
honest.
some.
Yeah.
Right.
When you said he was like Edward, I don't think you sold it to a lot of people. With respect,
I didn't realize
Dan
that.
Juma
I
signing.
apologize for that.
But do you think? Okay. So the report, there was other reports as well. So there's been a few reports relating to Dan Juma. It seemed like Villarreal are happy to send him out on loan potentially again. Do you think that's the key with this? Do you think that if we were to get him, it might be a loan sign rather than permanent transfer?
Yeah. That makes sense. I don't know what the money would be for Dan Juma, but he was on loan last year at Spurs and did okay. Actually did quite well because they hardly played him. I think he'll be, but we don't do good loans, right? So I think for us to do a good loan, I mean, obviously the best loan was Gallagher 2 seasons ago, but we don't do great loans. But I like an option to buy. You know me, I'm with T on this stuff. I hate loaning players, making them better than sending them away. I think Dan Juma would want to leave Villarreal if we did well in Palace. So there was a loan with the option to buy, I'd be all for that. But at this point, honestly, we need more players up top. So I'd take him either way.
Yeah, and would you take him over the other names then? Do you think Dan Juma, based on the list of Elangas, Dan Juma, we've been linked with, was it Jack Clark? Damari Gray as well. So let's talk about Damari Gray. So Damari Gray, I guess that will happen with a fee. I believe he's only got 1 year left in his contract. So, it should hopefully come with with a bit of cheaper value and a bit of Palace's price tag. As we say, we're a bit of, cheap when it comes to transfers. Anyways, so do you think Damari Gray versus Dan Juma, who wins that battle? Do you think the club go for Damari Gray? Because it seems like Gray has been linked with us for a while. He's been linked with us over the years. So clearly, Dougie Friedman has been a fan of his. So if you had to pick between the two of them, who would you rather go for, Damari Gray or Dan Juma?
I think Gray's slightly younger. He just got his first cap for Jamaica. They're playing in the Gold Cup over here in America. I've been watching him. I heard he might go to. I heard there was interest in him from the Saudis actually. For Damari Gray. So, I don't know. That's a great. I mean, I think they're very similar. I think Gray probably has a bit more end product. He puts in. He's very good at. I mean, he had a great assist for the Jamaica goal in the Gold Cup against America a couple of days ago. He's a good player. I don't know. Honestly, that's a great question. I don't know who I take over each other. I think they're both. They both add to us. I think Gray is more a right-sided player more than Juma can play left, right, and striker. So I kind of like the flexibility or adaptability or versatility, of Dan Juma. But it's a great question. I don't know. I think I'd rather have Dan Juma. So
yeah, let us know what you guys think in the live comment section. Dan Juma or Damari Gray, who would you rather go for? For me, I think I'd rather go for Dan Juma. It might be a bit more of a risky approach, but he's got a bit of Premier League experience. I think with Damari Gray, he just has these stints where he goes on crazy form and then he hits like a barrier and he comes back down. Like he's not a bad player at all. But yeah, I think Dan Juma just excites me a bit more. I think there's a bit more about Dan Juma's game than Damari Gray's game, and that's how I think about it. But Yeah, I mean, I think Dan Juma. Well, if it is Dan Juma on loan versus Demarai Gray fee for let's say £10 million, I'll probably still take
Then
Dan Juma on loan because he
Oh,
gives
you
us
would?
that flexibility. Yeah, I probably would with an option to buy. I feel like we need to be sensible. We've done a few of these now. Ruben Loftus-Cheek at Chelsea, Conor Gallagher as well, and both of these players they went on back to the clubs, and we couldn't buy them after having good spells at Palace. So if we were to get him, we need to try have an option to buy. So if there's no option to buy, I'll probably go for Demarai Gray because I don't want to be
Right.
heartbroken once
Okay.
again.
I get that part.
But if
yeah.
there's an option to buy, I'll go with Dan Juma alone. It gives us that bit of flexibility in terms of finances as well. And I think that makes a bit more sense for Palace going forward. And he's more experienced as well, which is what Eve was saying. Dan Juma says Koran, Korean,
maybe?
Yeah, Koran, yeah. Colin says Dan Juma's
Also-
more solid. Yeah.
Right. Also, wasn't Dan Juma at Bournemouth with Jefferson Lerma?
Yeah, he was. He
Right,
was.
so
He
that's
was.
another-
So
that's a
he's
good-
playing at
another good-
Bournemouth. Then he
yeah,
went on
good
Tottenham
link.
out on loan as well.
Yeah,
So he's
good
got
link.
Premier League experience, just like Demarai Gray has.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like picking references to. How old is Demarai Gray nowadays? Because you think players are
I think
young, but
25.
even
I'll
like
look it up.
Jesse,
I think it's like 25. I'll look it up.
yeah, because even like Jesse Lingard, he's going into his 30s, for example. Everyone thinks he's still young. He's a grown-up man. So yeah, look, they're both not old. They're entering their peak. So age-wise, it doesn't really cause us problems. But I'll be honest. And I said this as well. I put out a tweet. If Wilf was to stay, I feel like our depth option down the left-hand side, because I've been saying that we need depth option down the left, regardless of if Wilf stays or not. But I think that depth option realistically should be Jordan Ayew. What do you think about that, Patrick? So how I see it is left wing Zaha and Jordan Ayew, because I think Jordan Ayew did prove himself when Wilf was out that he can play down the left, and arguably he's better suited down the left because he likes cutting in and to his right foot rather than cutting into his left foot, which is a weaker foot. And then down the right-hand side, this is where the dilemma is. It'll be Elise and Rak-Saki. That would be my ideal approach if we don't want to spend money. What do you think about that? Because we save money like that, but potentially Rak-Saki's development gets hindered. I don't know if hindered is the right word, but if he's going out playing, it probably helps him a bit better. What do you think about those options in terms of depth options? Zaha and Ayew down the left, and Elise and Rak-Saki down the right. Because, Rak-Saki is proven himself a bit.
Before I answer that question, first, Demarai Gray turns 27 actually tomorrow. He's 26 today.
He's old, isn't it?
And Danjuma's 20. They're the same age. Danjuma's also 26.
Okay.
They're exactly the same age. So Danjuma's actually younger by like 6 months. So,
Hmm.
so I think you are underestimating Malcolm Abue in that whole mix about the left side. I think right side. I think he's more experienced than Rak-Saki. But I get what you're saying with Rak-Saki. Either one, I have no problem backing up Elise. I think you keep mentioning Zaha. I think you're holding on to a pipe. He's not coming back. So I think you have to get past that and say that it's Ayew on the left, and then we need someone to back him up, and that would be either Schlupp right now, and then obviously Danjuma or whomever to come in. I don't think that Wolves coming back. So I know what you're trying. I know you're holding on to that. You're holding on to that. No, I don't.
You have no hope.
I don't think it's happening.
But why don't you have any hope? Why don't you have any hope? Because Lazio, okay, so Fabrizio Romano came out today. We can't always talk about Zaha, but there was a bit of, updates.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it anyway. You had to do it. You did it anyway.
Yeah, well, we're talking about him now. But
you brought it up.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Because we're talking about left wingers. Fabrizio Romano said that Lazio offers there, but they don't like paying high salaries. So I think you can write Lazio off because I don't think Lazio probably would cover his normal wages like he has at Palace on his current stance. So cut Lazio off. PSG is interesting. Let's just say that. I think PSG is the most interesting one. Saudi, he already rejected it. They're coming in for a better offer. Right. But he still wants to play in European football. I don't know if money's going to really change his mind because Saudi's offering good money regardless. So maybe if they offer more, then he changes his mind. But Lazio, Saudi are writing off. What's the other team that's been linked with him? There's been one more team. Marseille, potentially. But I just don't see Marseille paying in similar levels to Lazio, paying the salary that Wilf wants. And also moving from Paris to Marseille. I guess he's guaranteed a bit more game time. I realistically think it's between PSG and Palace right now. I think it's between those two teams. Now,
but there's no choice then, right? You said PSG versus Palace.
Okay. So I was having this debate with someone else as well. There's no guarantee that Wilf goes to PSG and starts playing games. What if Wilf goes to PSG and ends up on a bench? Yeah, he's playing European football, but on a bench. Is he even playing European football? There's that dilemma as well. Like, Wilf has to make this decision, and it can impact the rest of his career. It can impact the next 4 to 5 years. Because if he goes to PSG and if he ends up on a bench, there's a good chance that he can end up, going to a worse off team, getting less money. You know, it can get complicated for him. Or if he signs on a good deal on PSG, gets good money, then other teams might not want him. You know, there's always this if factors. I'm not saying that if he goes to PSG, he won't play. But what if he goes to PSG and he doesn't play? He's not at Palace. What happens to the rest of his career? He's at PSG, but he's not even playing European football. So he has to make a sensible move. He has to get assurances, which I don't know if he can do at PSG.
This is his last. This is his last big contract. Though, so what does he care? This is his last.
Okay,
chance
so if
to
it's
get
last big contract,
glory,
and if he
right?
wants to play football, £200,000 a week at Palace is good. If he doesn't care all about money, but of course everyone cares about money. Money 100% is a factor. If £200,000 a week, whilst playing in the Premier League, whilst being guaranteed what you are at Palace, I wouldn't be surprised if he picks that over PSG, because PSG has that Champions League football factor, but then PSG has also crazy amount of money that they can buy Zaha and keep him as a depth option. Which does Wilf want that? Does Wilf not want to play?
That. I understand that, but Wilf has any type of serious desire to win things. You're never gonna choose Palace over PSG. That's a ridiculous comment. So I know what you're saying.
But if he wants to win things, does he want to win things whilst playing? I'm not saying that if he went to PSG, he wouldn't play, but there's a scenario that he might not play unless he gets assurances. Maybe if he gets assurances by a club, then that's fine. But if PSG is like, you know what, we're gonna play Champions League football, but this is our plans for now. You might become a starter, but if you sign someone else, we can't guarantee. Basically, we can't guarantee being a starter, and that makes total sense. You're talking about big PSG; they want to win the Champions League, and with all due respect, Zaha is not on the same levels as the Neymars and the other quality players in the world, unfortunately.
I get that. So, I just think that Palace it's a no-brainer for me as far as ambition. But again, we just talked about him, buying Corn Athletic, the stuff he does in the community, the mural. There's other stuff that might keep him here. He's getting married, just had his stag do this weekend, etc., etc. Maybe he doesn't want to take his sons and move them to Paris or Saudi. I get all that, but I'm just saying from a football standpoint, it's a no-brainer. From a money standpoint, it is. You have to think about it. But from a football standpoint, this is his last chance. This is his last chance to do what he wants to do, which I think is to win something. He's not winning anything at Crystal Palace. I want him to in the worst way. It's why I have such a problem with Parish and this idea of not getting a proper manager in or situation in. But for him to just stick around for 3 more years to just avoid relegation, if he wants to do that, then fine. I just think that he has more ambition than that. But I could be, listen, I'm probably wrong. I've been wrong a lot of times. So.
Yeah, let's see what happens anyways. I think realistically, out of all them teams, is between PSG and Palace, unless Saudi come and offer him crazy money, which money hasn't tempted him so far. Saudi offered him good money already, and it didn't tempt him.
You're right about that.
So he wants to play in European football, but let's see. I think it's between PSG and Palace, and he would rather play for Roy Hodgson, Palace, or PSG. They don't even have a manager, so it depends there. But look, if you guys have enjoyed the stream and if you're just joining us now, make sure to go to the start after we wrap up just in about a second. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with more positive news. If you're watching on replay, let us know in the comment section down below, what have you made of today's news regarding Demarai Gray, Balogun, and also talking about Zaha, Danjuma. So some exciting names there. Let us know what you guys think. Thanks to Patrick. Thanks to everyone who joined us live. And until next time, up the Palace.